Hello, everybody. We're very happy to have you all here and spend your Friday lunch with us. We were thinking that we would engage you a little bit more in the discussion because you've probably heard of a lot of panel discussions and a lot of discussions on the stage, but you don't necessarily were always invited in those, and we thought we would change that up a bit and make it a little bit more crowd-based. So we will go through multiple segments where we will ask you a question, and the question is always going to be, is that bullshit or is that true? And we want you to give us your input, and we will discuss a bit what we do based on your input. But first, before we do that, I wanted to just briefly introduce you to Alina, and maybe you can tell a bit about what you do. And in the meantime, we will let the first question come up. The first question is, Europe has the science, but not the ambition. Please go again on Menti and vote, and we will discuss that. But first, maybe, Alina, tell us a bit about you.
Yeah, thank you, Lynn, and thank you all for being here. Super nice to see such a full room on a Friday during lunchtime. My name is Alina. I work as an investment manager at Fraunhofer Venture. Just because, like yesterday and today, I heard many people, oh yeah, I know the Fraunhofer Institute. So I thought I might give you a little bit setting. We do have 75 institutes. They are working in every sector you can think of. And Fraunhofer Venture, we are supporting all of our institutes in terms of spin-off transfer. And also equity investments and portfolio management. We do have several programs. We have like an incubation program, which is called AHEAD. This is for our scientists to get like really a program to make their first steps into venturing. And also we have Fraunhofer CoLab. My colleague Flo is also here with us today and happy to chat with you during the networking session. With the CoLab program, we are able to work with external startups who are willing to implement IP into their business model and who are willing to work with Fraunhofer. Super happy to be here and to learn more about you as well.
Yes, and to partner up. I mean, I think Fraunhofer is a really great organization to push research, and it's the same for us as well. So I represent CERN. I'm Linn Kretzschmar, and I run the CERN Venture Connect program, which is our startup support program, which we just launched 2 years ago. For those of you who know CERN, CERN is a very big research infrastructure, which sits right at the border between Switzerland and France. And we do a lot of fundamental research, really much more fundamental maybe than you do, on particle physics. So we try to understand what the universe is about. We know only 5% so far, and we are trying to figure out the other 95%. So there's still a long way to go, but we have a lot of technologies that we would like to bring out to industry, and that's why we're here today, also to explain a bit what we do. I think the votings are in for the first statement, and I think many people. It's quite good of a balance, but we can see that more people say that this is true. Do you have? What do you think? What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, that's super interesting. I think it kind of resonates with my thoughts on that. I would say, like, scientifically, it's false, but structurally kind of true. So we do have lots of ambition in our labs in terms of science. Also within the founders, Europe is great at innovating. We have, I think, 30% of the top tier tech universities in Europe, so there's lots of talent and there's lots of science. Germany is place 2 in terms of patent. So there is lots of ambition in the science space, but in terms of scaling, I think there are some. There we are lacking some ambition from the market side, corporate side, but also from the procurement side, from the capital side.
I agree.
There's some room for improvement.
I think so too. I mean, I meet people at CERN that would like to start their business on a daily basis. We see a lot of startups also externally that are interested in our technologies. So I think there is ambition and there is also interest but the scaling, I think, is a struggle. I think one of our very, very early on, we had a startup called AAA. I think they were bought by Novartis for 3.9 billion. So there is the possibility to scale, but I think you have to have really a really strong push, and you have to be really resilient on that in order to manage that. But yeah, for us, we decided to set up this program because for us it was important to push more. Maybe you're familiar, we would like to at some point start a new research project at CERN and run in even larger collider than we have now. And for this, we really need to make people understand that there is socioeconomic impact other than finding Higgs bosons and doing the fundamental research there, but we really need to understand how can our technologies help the industries and the countries that are supporting our work. And I think you mentioned before to me that you do also a lot of contractual research. Is that right?
That is true, yeah. Fraunhofer, I mean, the core of Fraunhofer is contract research. We are quite at the applied side of science. So yes, we do a lot here. And in terms of, maybe you want to guess, what do you think? How many of our startups are still active after 3 years?
Ooh, that's a good question. Okay, in percentage?
Yes.
Well, I feel like deep tech always has a little bit higher of a rate, and people that have a scientific background are always a bit more likely to survive. I don't know, maybe 50%?
Even much higher. So
Okay.
after 3 years, 90% of our spin-offs are still on the market.
Okay.
And after 10 years, I think this is even more impressive, after 10 years, more than 80%.
Okay, wow.
So what we see here is that we are able to build great companies out of research organizations and out of Fraunhofer in this case.
Yeah.
Maybe they are not like the typical VC scaling cases. We do have them as well, but most of our companies are stable companies and active over several years.
Very
Successful.
cool.
Yeah.
Should we go to the next
Sure.
statement? Let's do that. So the next statement is: universities and research and technology organizations take too much equity too early. Curious to hear, also because we have quite the diverse room. We have some corporates, we have some startups, so I think it's going to be a bit more clear in which direction this is tending towards. Maybe while we wait for the incoming ones, I can maybe start about how we started all of this, the program at CERN. So we've been working with startups a lot in the past, but we saw a lot of struggles working with startups. CERN, we have around 10,000 people on campus on a daily basis. It's a very bureaucratic organization. Of course, we have a lot of stakeholders that are member states. So, for example, the Netherlands is one of the stakeholders. And so things are very slow, as you can imagine. And so whenever we worked with startups, the influx of startups, there was long negotiation times. We had to first assess what kind of technologies work well for them. And it just took a very long time. I think on average, I saw a report, it takes between 12 and 15 months to negotiate the terms with a tech transfer office. So that's quite challenging. And so we decided to standardize everything. So we have standardized agreement with startups for whatever technology they want. I mean, there's a limit towards that. We have specifically a few technologies that we can give to very, very founder-friendly terms. For the others, we have to look case by case, but for the majority of the cases, it's always the same terms. And I think it comes also because we don't have necessarily the profit pressure, because we are not necessarily profit-oriented. Of course, we need to keep up our activities, and our technology experts need to keep up with the work and help with integrating the technologies for the other startups. But I think this is a good way, and we don't, for example, take any equity. Mm-hmm. How is it with you?
Love to hear that. Maybe I can ask you back. How was that process internally, and do you have like state aid rules that you have to comply to? How was that in terms of standardization? Because I think many RTOs and universities are thinking about that, and we know we need it, but it's quite hard to get there.
Yeah, it was a tough process. It took a really long time for us to manage that. It was my predecessor who started it, and it took really years to get that. But the thing is that, if you cannot know in the beginning whether the startup is going to succeed, and it's just sunk costs. When you negotiate for a year and then you get, 10% out of nothing. So I'd rather have a smaller percentage. For us, it's 2% of something than 10% of nothing, and then we have negotiated for, a year. But in the end, we managed, and we're very happy about it. Yeah. How about you?
Congrats on that. So of course, this is a huge preconception that's been around for several years, maybe forever. It certainly doesn't apply to Fraunhofer as well, which I'm happy to be able to say here. Yeah. But 90% of our spin-offs meaning they do rely on Fraunhofer IP, patents, know-how. So over 90% of our spin-offs, we don't have any equity stake in the companies. Most of them, they have licensing contracts in place, especially if patents are involved. But if we take equity, then it's really a case-by-case decision, and it's connected with investment. We also want to be able to follow up in the next financing rounds, so really being an active investor, and that's when we take shares. Yeah. But otherwise, we don't take any shares just by standard.
Yeah, I think there is also a shift, I feel like. We still have the pre-notion of how it was several years ago, but I know that the average amount of, for example, equity as well has gone down quite a bit, and we still think, okay, it's like it was maybe 10, 15 years ago, but I feel like there's much more push also from the management of research organizations to showcase the importance of startups and tech transfer, and for this we have to adapt more to the startup world. We cannot operate in the research domain for that, and that's why we're also here, right? A lot of people ask, like, why is CERN here? I don't understand, what do they do here? But we need to get closer in order to really bridge what we are working on and help startups and companies to work with that.
Absolutely. I also recognize that question. Yes. But I feel like now it's getting, people are getting used to it. Maybe can you take us while we switch to the next slide?
Actually, the next one is going to be a special one. You have to pick. So you can choose. It's like you build your own panel discussion. You can choose which statement we're supposed to comment on. So feel free to tell us whether it's boring to discuss or whether you would like us to discuss that, and you can go ahead and talk a bit more about what you do.
I wanted to ask you, how exactly does it work? If a startup is in the room now and they say, hey, I want to work with CERN, how exactly does it work?
Yes. So we have a portfolio of 9 technologies that we can very, very easily outsource, or not outsource, but license out to startups. These technologies are enabling technologies, so we are looking for startups that maybe have already built a product, have their core IP, but would like to kind of complement that with an enabling technology that, for example, increases efficiency or reduces the form factor. Those technologies is software, hardware. We have laser systems, we have microelectronic systems, cooling devices, a lot of software as well, because we actually have 1 petabyte of data every second generated through the experiments that we're running. We're not keeping all of that, of course. So we have trigger systems that identify in an instant anomalies in the data, and so we keep only part of it that we then analyze. And those technologies, around those technologies, we are looking for partner startups that would like to join. That's one part, and then the second part is our network. So we've built a network now of 61 partners Many of them are VCs, particularly in the deep tech domain, that are helping our startups to get over the funding hurdle. We are doing lots of events. We also have startups here today from you and from me, from CERN, that get some visibility through the activities. And I want to know about you, but let's have a look first at the where the interest lays. We don't see much here. Let's go up.
It was quite fun to watch this race.
Yes. And I think the one that won first is the last one. So that startup support programs actually exist for the institution and not for the founder. And then the other one is scientists make terrible founders. Maybe you want to comment on the first?
Yeah, I can do that. To be honest, I haven't heard that sentence a lot of times, but I do think, or I can think of why this is there. So I feel like it's definitely both. When looking at our CoLab program, for example, where we work with external startups, I mean, Flo, he does an exceptional job at really meeting the founders where they are, because even they are all like in the early stages, they do stand on like different stages in their startup journey, and he really meets them where they are, trying to keep bureaucracy and program and stuff like that to a minimum, to really being able to help tech transfer and the startups developing, instead of slowing them down. And on the other side, our incubator and also we as Fraunhofer Venture, I think we do help our scientists a lot in order to develop this entrepreneurial DNA, to also make their first steps in their journey. Some of them don't want to be a founder, and that's okay. But some of them do realize within the surroundings that we enable through our programs and networking events and the sessions and the meetings, they do realize, hey, this is cool, and it's fun to build my own company. So I think it's both. Of course, we are happy if the technology transfer is successful, but also the startups and scientists benefit from it.
Yes, absolutely. I think we just started this year a pilot at CERN to help scientists, engineers, physicists to get some entrepreneurial skills. This is a 6-month program. We got surprisingly many applications, so we're running this program now with a cohort of, I think, 23 people. We wanted to keep it a little bit smaller, because then few people can feel like they can experience and feel comfortable in sharing their ideas. And I think scientists can be very, very good founders. I think there's a little bit of a mindset shift that they have to do. They are very, very familiar with complex aspects and analyzing those, and they work maybe in a different way of reaching the goal. And I think sometimes you have to think a bit more about the market than the technology. But I think they can make really, really good founders, and we've seen that a lot of times, and I think it's a misconception. I think it's bullshit.
Yeah, so that was a good overlap to the second question.
Yeah.
Totally agree. We also sometimes we tell our scientists that building a company, is quite the same as doing science. I mean, you build hypotheses about your market, about your customers, about your product, and you try to test and validate those assumptions.
Same cycle. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Super cool.
Last question, also wanted to comment on, is it still the biggest one? Yes, 3.4. Support programs exist for institutions, not founders. True, I think it is true. But I think what we have to realize is that we are reliant on founders to bring out the socioeconomic impact that we cannot. I mean, we are running a facility, we're running an accelerator, all of the detectors, but we need to showcase this to industry. And so, of course, kind of the objective or the reasoning why this is happening, it's for the institution. But we see that we have so many fresh people working with startups and coming in and actually being there for the startups and trying to also push a bit more the research organization itself to go into that direction, that I feel actually a little bit more close to the founders than maybe to the organization. And so I feel like we're a little bit in a sandwich position there. But I see so much interest and so much strength from the people that are supporting the researchers. How many people do you have actually in your teams to support, or how does it look like?
Yeah, so Fraunhofer Venture, we're around 20 people, I'd say. And then there's the AHEAD program, which are also a few people, and the CoLab team. So we are all there to everyone can approach us really easily within the institute, but also external startups always happy to figure out the best way for collaborating. And
yeah, I can always also feel like the excitement when I work with those people, and the gratefulness on both sides. I think it's a mutual respect for each other's work. I don't know how you feel that, but it's, I think, present every day.
Totally, yeah. And also the interest from the ecosystem. So maybe that also comes to the VC part. We do realize, of course, now software valuations kind of dropped a little bit, so everyone gets more excited about deep tech. So we do see lots of interest now from investors as well, and corporates as well. So super happy to include them also early in the formation of the startup even. So yeah, that's great to see the whole ecosystem being involved.
Yeah, being together. Yeah, I think that's also something that we discussed before. I feel like there's always this discussion that, I mean, I think we like to, I know that in Germany, I think German people like to complain. I'm part of that, so I'm part of the problem. But I think we need to I think all people within that ecosystem need to work with one another. And I think if we have the pioneers actually working it, then the rules and the administrative facilitation and stuff, this will follow. But we need to start and do something together, and I think we have a great possibility with research centers, with people that want to found. But I think also what is very important is to have corporates there, and I think that's something that I find a bit challenging, to get to corporates to say, hey, we need to work with you. We have startups, cool startups, and they need to find a market, and I think there is a little bit, we need to tweak that a little bit more. Should we go to the last statement one more time? We need you guys to tell us what do you think about this statement. The best technology isn't winning. 100%. No, of course, it's just one person. Yeah. How do you feel about this sentence?
Yeah, I feel like some of our scientists, they do tend to overrate like the value of the technology and the IP, and maybe even the TTO department, rather than seeing like it can be one of their biggest moats, and it is valuable, but it's one part of the puzzle, right? So you need other things as well that have to come together. You need, in the end, it's all about execution. It's about market timing. So there are different things that have to come together, and so I do think that sometimes the tech gets a little bit overrated.
Yeah, we can see that also. The room feels that way.
Room agrees.
But I also think you have to rethink it a bit. Like, what is the best technology? I think best you can think in a technical way, best as in like superior, very precise, but the best can also mean catering to the market need the best. So I think, if you think it in that way, I think the best technology in that sense could be the winner as well. But we see, I was recently talking to a founder that is part of our program, and he told me that he spent half a year in the lab perfecting his prototype. He's working on fiber optics for humidity sensing. And he told me that he was super excited to bring this product then to the customer, and the customer was like, I don't really want that. That's not what I want. And so he said, like, but it was super good to have the learning super early on. That was very, very helpful for him. And then afterwards, he didn't make that mistake, and he just iterated quickly with the feedback and created the best technology that then served the market need.
Totally. We also try to get this commercial side as early as possible within the team. Sometimes the scientists do develop this technique or mindset shift for themselves. Sometimes it makes sense to get someone else in the team who really enjoys like go-to-market, talking to the market, fundraising and stuff like that. So we really try to bring them together because, as you mentioned, it's essential. Also, kind of moving on the technology side ahead, but also on the market side as well. So in the end, it comes together. We need all of us.
Yes.
We need the whole ecosystem. We need the capital. We need the corporates. We need the founders, the scientists, and everyone who's in the room with us.
Absolutely. And so I think we're coming to the end of this section. I think it would be good to understand where can we see each other next. So how can we create more ties with one another? So where can we see you next, or where can we learn more about your work?
Yeah, perfect. Actually, there's a QR code for you. We host a session end of June. For those who want to come to Munich or are in Munich, you are happy to step by in person. For those who are not able to make it, you can also join online. So there will be 25 Fraunhofer startups pitching on stage. I think it will be a cool event for you if you're interested in some of our startups.
Yes, and for us, it's going to be a little bit more techy in order for us to explain a bit more about the technologies that we have, which sometimes are a little bit intangible when we think about the work that we do. We organize a Deep Tech Talk series, and we have a new session in September, and it will be about one of our laser systems and one of the experts working at CERN on this system in order to align on a millimeter level structures that are 27 kilometers long. He will explain how he uses it at CERN and how it's actually also used already in industry and how it can help many different industries. Actually, one of the startups is also here today to talk about how the laser is working for him. So we'd be happy to see you. It's online, so you don't have to come to Switzerland.
I would love to come.
Yeah, you should. You should all come. We can have a big party there. Okay, then thank you so much, Alina. Thank you, everybody, for listening to this section. We have a next session that Hannah will be explaining a bit, but thanks a lot for now.